What's going on, guys? GeoSnorted here. So in today's video we need to talk about jailbreaking. Is it really dead? A lot of people have, of course, their own opinions, and the most known opinion currently in the jailbreak community is Philip's opinion, and Philip is the guy behind Everything Apple Pro, who has made a video on this topic a couple days ago about jailbreaking being dead or not. So I decided to also make my own video on it and to also state my opinion, just so you guys know what's going on, what I think would happen, and so on. So let's get into this. Now, of course, as Philip said, we reached the point when even Taig, the creator of Cydia, wouldn't recommend jailbreaking to people he met or to people who he interacts with. So what's going on here and where all this started? I don't remember Philip, giving actually the article in here, the subreddit link, but I'm going to give you the subreddit link in the description so that you can actually read the entire thing that Taig has published in here. You probably remember Taig is known for writing long posts when he replies to something, but they're always good reads, so you should definitely read that. But it started with this discussion in here over the fact that Taig, the creator of Cydia, no longer recommends that people jailbreak their phones. So he's skeptical about the jailbreaking, but is the jailbreaking actually that bad? Well, if you take a look in here, this is his actual post that is probably very important if you want to understand the current situation. And yes, in this post in here, in this response in here, Taig actually does say that iOS 10 would have probably been better without a jailbreak. That's not actually what he says overall. If you want to actually understand that, you need to take the whole context. See, we used to have jailbreaks like Pangu, and this is probably the last jailbreak to be very stable and untethered. And no, it's not the last jailbreak from Pangu. This one is the second to last, and it's that one for iOS 9.0 to 9.1. And it's been compatible with 32-bit devices as well. It's been untethered. It's been completely stable, worked from the first time you jailbroke once, and you've been jailbroken forever from that point on until you, of course, restore the device. And this thing in here, what you see and what I said, is no longer possible. Why? Well, you probably remember that Apple has introduced a lot of security mitigations in newer versions, and you probably were told this over and over again when you asked about the status of the jailbreak. Yes, Apple does introduce new security mitigations to the actual iOS in order to make the jailbreaking harder, and that's actually their job, guys. It's not like Apple hates us. It's not like Apple, wants us not to be happy with our devices and so on. Apple just thinks about our security. When you're talking about jailbreaking, you're talking about security holes being exploited in order to generate other security holes. Yes, you do get some, rather nice features like, I don't know, theming or installing of tweaks and so on, but with what cost? You're actually trading off your device's security, your credentials, your data that is stored on the device in case of something malicious happening, for a theme or for a tweak. And Apple is never going to accept that. It's too big of a trade-off for them to make. So going back to Taig's post, he says in here that most of the users are not actually running iOS 10 jailbroken devices as their daily drivers. In fact, most of them are running iOS 7 to 9 jailbroken. And of course, those of you who are jailbroken on iOS 10 probably remember the fact that it's not very stable. It's definitely, lacking a lot of features like being untethered or stuff like that. It's semi-untethered. You need to sideload it each and every 7 days, exactly as you did with the Pangu jailbreak, the last Pangu jailbreak, but at least the Pangu jailbreak was a little bit more stable. Well, now of course a lot of people are thinking, well, Luca is to blame. Well, Luca is not to blame. Luca was actually doing whatever he could in order to bump some life into the jailbreaking one more time. And he tried, and he did realize a good jailbreak it's not his fault that the jailbreak is unstable. It's not his fault that the community around the jailbreaking has gone a little bit downhill lately. And it's not his fault that Apple is introducing more and more features that were taken from the jailbreak to the actual iOS. So nowadays you don't really have a reason to jailbreak unless you really want that theming stuff or, you know, those advanced tweaks and so on. If you take a look at the iOS 11, Apple did introduce a lot of features that were basically copied from the jailbreak, more or less. You have the recording option. Let's just talk about that. You have the recording option, and up until iOS 11, on iOS 10, iOS 9, iOS 8, iOS 7, and so on, if you wanted to record your screen, your only option was to search for a screen recorder application for iOS, but that's not going to be in the App Store because Apple never allowed such applications to be part of the App Store. So you had to go ahead and install some third-party App Store like F.C.E, and it used a Chinese profile, a Chinese, you know, certificate in order to sign them, an enterprise certificate. And sometimes that certificate got revoked, so you couldn't use the screen recorder application anymore, and so on. So that was a very fiddly process. Nowadays in iOS 11, you just swipe up, go to the Action Center in here, press the record button, and have it recorded in there with audio or not, and it's just getting saved on the photos. So pretty easy. And as you can see, Apple's been taking a lot of features from the jailbroken devices and inserted them into the actual iOS. Take the night shift, for example. It used to be a tweak on the jailbroken devices up until Apple decided to introduce it in the actual iOS. Another reason to, of course, make a developer not to develop that thing anymore, because it's now part of the iOS itself. So that's been going on for ages. Apple has learned a lot from jailbreaks, and they keep on doing that. And we reached the point where jailbreaking is causing more problems than actual, you know, features or than actual joy. You jailbreak, you get a little bit of a, you know, a tweak or a theme that you like and so on. You get to customize your device as you wish, but with what price? With the price of, you know, having a very bad battery life, with the price of having your device exposed to very, very bad security issues. You don't get updates, which means that you're vulnerable to any known, you know, exploits and so on that are actually made public at various points in time once Apple discovers them and patches them. And you remain, for example, on iOS 10.1.1. But things evolve. iOS 10.3.3 is now up, and imagine this thing. On iOS 10.3.3, an important Wi-Fi exploit and whatever, an important Wi-Fi bug has been patched. Well, you will not get that patch. You will not get that fix. You are still vulnerable to that thing, and people, hackers, do know about that. They do know about the jailbroken devices that are exposed to this risk because they're staying on a lower firmware that doesn't have the patch, and they now know that there is an actual vulnerability in there, and they know where to look for. So, in a nutshell, jailbreaking is great. It's definitely something that I really love and I've grown to love in time, but it's definitely having its double edge. So, is jailbreaking dead? Well, it's not dead, but I think we're going to see less jailbreaks in the future, and probably we're going to see more and more features introduced in the iOS. But it's not dead. It's not going to die, never. We're always going to have new security researchers interested into breaking Apple's system. It's probably going to get harder and harder and harder to a point where people wouldn't simply do it because it's too fiddly, or if they do it, they would keep the exploits for themselves or simply sell them. But there will still be jailbreaks, and that's not going to end up very, very quickly. But yeah, we're going to the point where it's getting harder and harder and harder. Don't lose your hope. This is not the point of the video. The point of the video is to actually make you realize that yes, jailbreaking is actually hard nowadays. It's hard to achieve a jailbreak. Once you do, it's hard to make it completely, you know, flawless, to work for everybody, to avoid breaking devices, and it's too much of a pain for developers to actually do it nowadays. But that doesn't mean somebody wouldn't simply come around and simply make a jailbreak and push it to the public. That can happen at any time, so do not lose your hope. I definitely recommend you to read this article in here called The Life, Death and Legacy of the iPhone Jailbreaking. It goes very well, and it's been written very nicely by whoever wrote the article, and it goes back in history with the first jailbreaks, and it goes up to the iOS 10 jailbreak, so you can make an idea what happened and how things changed in time. That's basically what I wanted to say. If you want to read whatever Sorek said in here, and if you feel it's important for you to know it, I would definitely recommend it to take a read in here. And yeah, next time you have a jailbreak, do not forget protect it, do not update, do not install stuff that would break the device, because it can be the last jailbreak. This is actually it, guys. It's my opinion. It can be wrong. I've been wrong before. Just wanted to make my opinion, somehow known to you, and just wanted you to know what is my position on the current situation of the jailbreaking. Till the next time, I'm GeoSnow. Peace out.